January 24, 2006. Orlando, Florida. A young woman named Jennifer Kesse failed to show up for work. Her car was found a mile away, parked by a stranger. What happened to Jennifer? Welcome to the channel. Jennifer was born on May 20, 1981 in New Jersey, but grew up in Tampa, Florida. She graduated from Vivian Gaither High School and went on to attend the University of Central Florida, earning her degree in finance in 2003. By 2006, she had secured a position as a finance manager at Central Florida Investments timeshare company in Condo. She was single, dating a man named Rob, and had recently purchased her own condominium at the Mosaic at Millennia Complex in Orlando. Her life was on track. She had the education, the career, and the independence that many young professionals dream of. The weekend before her disappearance, Jennifer and her boyfriend Rob had traveled to St. Croix in the U.S. Virgin Islands for a much-needed vacation. They returned to Orlando on Sunday, January 22, 2006. Jennifer spent that night at Rob's home rather than her own condominium. The couple had been dating for some time, and Rob would later be one of the last people to speak with her. Jennifer drove from Rob's place directly to work on Monday morning, January 23rd, appearing normal and in good spirits according to everyone who saw her. Jennifer left work at Central Florida Investments in Condo at approximately 6:00 p.m. on January 23rd. While driving home, she spoke with her father by phone around 6:15 p.m. This was a normal routine for Jennifer. She often called her parents during her commute. Later that evening, at around 10:00 p.m., she spoke with her boyfriend Rob one final time. They said goodnight, and Rob believed she was settling in for the night at her condominium. He would later be confirmed as the last known person to speak with Jennifer alive. She never mentioned any fear, any strange occurrences, or any plans that would suggest something was wrong. On Tuesday morning, January 24th, Rob tried calling Jennifer before work, a tradition they had as a couple. The call went straight to voicemail. He assumed she was running late or still asleep. When Jennifer didn't show up for work at Central Florida Investments, her colleagues grew concerned. Her parents, who lived 2 hours away in Tampa, became alarmed when they couldn't reach her. They drove to Orlando that morning, desperately hoping to find Jennifer safe at home. But when they arrived at her condominium, they discovered her car was missing from its assigned spot. The nightmare was just beginning. At noon on January 26th, 2 days after Jennifer was reported missing, investigators made a troubling discovery. Her 2004 Chevrolet Malibu was found parked at the Huntington Apartments, approximately 1.2 miles from her Mosaic at Millennia condominium. Security cameras at the complex had recorded someone parking her car and walking away approximately 24 hours earlier, around noon on January 24th. The footage showed a person of interest leaving Jennifer's car and walking out of frame. This was the first major clue in the case, and it would become one of the most haunting pieces of evidence. The surveillance footage from the Huntington Apartments became the centerpiece of the investigation. The video was grainy and of poor quality, showing a person of interest driving Jennifer's Malibu into a parking space and then walking away. The person's face was obscured by a fence in all available angles. NASA was later brought in to enhance the video using their image processing technology, but even with their expertise, the quality remained poor. Investigators estimated the person was between 5'3" and 5'5" tall and appeared to be wearing workers' clothing. The individual walked with a distinctive gait that some analysts studied extensively. But without a clear view of the face, identification proved impossible. When Jennifer's parents entered her condominium, they found it appeared largely undisturbed. A wet towel and clothes laid out suggested she had showered and prepared for work on Tuesday morning. But Jennifer herself was gone, along with her purse, cell phone, keys, and other personal belongings. Strangely, her bank account keycard was never used after her disappearance. This led detectives to rule out random robbery as a primary motive. If someone had simply wanted her possessions, they would likely have taken them from her car when they abandoned it. The fact that valuables were left behind suggested something more sinister was at play. The Mosaic at Millennia complex where Jennifer lived was in the midst of a major expansion, converting from apartments to condominiums. This construction created a constant presence of workers at the property. According to family members, Jennifer had been experiencing ongoing harassment from construction workers. They would catcall, whistle, and make inappropriate comments toward her. The language barriers between Jennifer and many of the workers made communication difficult, and she had expressed feeling unsafe in her own home. This detail would become central to the investigation, though police were initially unable to thoroughly question many of the transient construction workers who had been at the site. In the early days of the investigation, police conducted a thorough background check on everyone close to Jennifer. Her immediate family, her boyfriend Rob, and her ex-boyfriend were all questioned and eliminated as suspects. Her home computer was examined for clues, revealing that a manager at her workplace had expressed romantic interest in her, but she had rebuffed his advances. A search dog was brought in to examine Jennifer's abandoned car. Remarkably, the dog tracked a scent from the car back toward her apartment complex, suggesting whoever parked her car may have returned to the area where she lived. But this promising lead went cold without additional evidence. As word spread about Jennifer's disappearance, the case gained significant media attention both locally and nationally. In May 2007, Jennifer's employer, Central Florida Investments, offered a $1 million reward for information leading to her whereabouts, with a July 4th deadline. The reward was never claimed. Despite extensive coverage and public appeals for information, no credible tips emerged that led to breakthrough evidence. The case became one of Florida's most well-known missing persons investigations. But each passing day made the mystery deeper and the answers more elusive. While the investigation continued, Jennifer's family worked to ensure her case would lead to positive change. In 2008, the Florida legislature passed the Jennifer Kesse and Tiffany Sessions Missing Persons Act, named after Jennifer and another missing Florida woman. This legislation reformed how missing persons cases are handled in Florida, ensuring that reports are taken more seriously and investigated more thoroughly from the outset. Jennifer's legacy would live on in policy changes that could help future missing persons and their families navigate the complex systems of law enforcement and media attention. As the years passed without answers, Jennifer's case continued to draw attention from federal authorities. In 2010, the FBI officially took over the investigation from local police, bringing additional resources, forensic capabilities, and investigative expertise to the case. The federal involvement signaled that authorities believed Jennifer's disappearance might involve interstate activity or warranted additional scrutiny beyond local resources. However, despite the FBI's involvement, the case remained unsolved. In 2018, Jennifer's parents filed a lawsuit against the Orlando Police Department to gain access to case records they felt had been withheld from them. The lawsuit was settled in 2019, giving the family access to approximately 16,000 pages of investigative records. After more than 16 years without answers, Jennifer's case was transferred to the Florida Department of Law Enforcement Cold Case Unit in December 2022. The FDLE announced they would take a fresh look at the evidence, interview previously identified persons of interest, and utilize new DNA testing technologies that had become available since the original investigation. This revival of interest gave Jennifer's family renewed hope that answers might finally be within reach. The cold case unit's involvement signaled that authorities had not forgotten about Jennifer and believed new methods might yield results that previous investigations could not. In May 2025, the FDLE Cold Case Unit announced they had identified several persons of interest in Jennifer's case. Then, in October 2025, a major breakthrough was announced. DNA evidence that had previously been untested was located and analyzed using modern techniques. The results appeared to have significantly narrowed down the pool of potential suspects. Investigators described the case as no longer cold and expressed real hope of solving the mystery that had haunted Jennifer's family for nearly 2 decades. The news gave the family their first real sense of momentum in years and suggested that Jennifer's case might finally be moving toward resolution. Jennifer Joyce Kesse was born May 20, 1981. She would be 44 years old today. Her family has never stopped searching for her, never stopped advocating for justice, and never stopped hoping that someday someone will come forward with the truth. The questions remain. Was she abducted by a construction worker from her complex? Was she targeted by someone she knew? Did she walk to her car and encounter an opportunist? Or did she fall victim to something far more sinister? As of late 2025, with new DNA evidence providing hope, the investigation continues. Jennifer's case reminds us that behind every cold case statistic is a real person, a real family, and a real story that deserves to be told until the truth is finally known. Jennifer Joyce Kesse, born May 20, 1981, disappeared January 24, 2006. If you have any information about Jennifer Kesse's disappearance, please contact the Florida Department of Law Enforcement or the FBI. Thank you for watching. Please like, subscribe, and share this video.